suck on me if you're properly addressing she in my presence. Blind with pride, just live the dream. Made to believe that deviation from her plan would lead to the devastation of a nation. No one around me. How can this be? Actions opposite of what she preach. Tells me be free. Then she goes short is.
What's up, everybody? I'm Gymkhana Josh, and welcome to Beyond the Apex, where we talk about motorcycle everything and then some. Tonight, we have a pretty awesome guest. When my co-host Butter mentioned it to me, he had said, the biker chef, and I was all about it. Two things I love in life is motorcycling and eating. So this sounds like it's going to be a good show for me. Speaking of Butter, if you look over to my left, you'll see my co-host Butter. Butter, what's up with you, man? How you doing?
What's up? I'm good, man. It's an awesome day. We got a really dear good friend on the show tonight. I'm excited. For those of you that don't know, this is Mr. Biker Bills. We call him the chef. He's a really amazing guy. The last the last major thing he did prior to like a week before everything shutting down in New York City, he catered my whole sneaker event. I do a huge charity event here in New York City for underdeveloped children, and we provide sneakers and shoes for them. And Bill's catered the whole event. I mean, we had wings for days. It was a really great event. And COVID hit, so it was really hurtful that this guy did such a huge charitable thing, and shit happened for him and his business. But he's beloved in the biker world. Ladies and gentlemen, I present Will Sheffy.
Yeah, so down at the bottom of your screen, you'll see BILLZ, Biker Chef. And BILLZ, what's up, man? How are you doing tonight? Thanks for joining us.
Good. What's going on, Josh?
Yeah, not too much, not too much. So, episode 20, Beyond the Apex. Like I said, we're joined this evening with BILLZ, Biker Chef. Man, there's so much to talk about. Like I said, I could talk all night about bikes. I could talk all night about food. But we're going to mix the two in together here. First thing I wanted to kick off with you, though, was we didn't talk about it yesterday when I first talked to you. What came first, the biker or the chef?
Actually, the biker.
Yeah. How did all that come
So
about?
I was raised up in Brooklyn, and I was about 13 and a half or 14. And the motorcycle show used to be held at Madison Square Garden. This is years before the Jabbas was built. You know, the car show used to be at the Coliseum. So I went to the bike show and I fell in love. But before that happened, I was like, that was my Evel Knievel days. I liked the Evel Knievel, and he was doing all his jumps. He had his toys. I had his little scramble van. I had the wheelie thing, everything. So I fell in love with motorcycles, at a young age. Once I went to the bike show at the Garden, that was it. I came home with like 40 brochures, and I kept telling my pops, listen, Dad, I want a motorcycle. I want a motorcycle. My father said, hell no, you ain't getting no motorcycle. You're not going to kill yourself, da-da-da. He said, listen, you're 14. He said, when you get 16, I hope you get a car, blah, 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 blah. I said, I don't want a car. I want a motorcycle. So my father got slick. He says, well, you want a motorcycle, get it on your own. And I said, well, I ain't got no money. He said, exactly. So there you go. So I said, okay. So I worked at McDonald's all summer. Minimum wage was like $3.35 an hour. So my check was like $140 a week. Out of that, I went down to Camrod on 57th Street, put down $100 every week for 12 weeks. 12 weeks later, I had my bike.
Damn, that's some dedication. Damn.
Yeah, it was a Honda XL 200. I'll never forget. I love that bike. I had no money left for a helmet, no money for a license plate, no insurance, no nothing. I rode the bike home in the rain on the Brooklyn Bridge with no lid, no nothing.
Probably still happy as hell, though.
Yeah, of course. People on the bridge was like, where's your helmet? No. I didn't care. I got home. I pulled up in front of the house. I rang the bell. I let my father come to the front door. He looked at the bike. He looked at me. He looked back at the bike. He looked at me, and he just walked back in the house. So my mother came out. Yeah, my mother came out. She said, okay. She didn't agree with it, but she respected it. And she said, okay, you got your own bike. Da-da-da-da. Do your thing. So back then, I had a cardboard license plate, and I wrote a bunch of numbers on it. I put New York on the bottom and put it on the back of the bike, and that was it. I didn't know about insurance and registration and inspection and none of that, because I just wanted to ride, which I get it.
That's funny.
I mean, there's still kids out here doing that now.
Yeah.
Still be
So,
doing
well, no, but yeah, like I was like when my pops told me I couldn't have it, I just was like, nah, and I worked for it, and I got it, So, and I started out with the dirt bikes, and maybe a year or two later, I bought my first street bike, which was a FT 500 Ascot, a Honda,
that.
of course, because Honda was my first choice.
Wow.
And then the sport bike craze started coming in like 85, 86, and the Ninjas, 900 was coming out, the Ninja 600 was coming out, the Hurricanes were coming out, and all that. And I was gonna get a 500 Interceptor. I remember at Plaza Honda on Nostrand. I was gonna buy that, and a guy on my block, he had three bikes. He had KLR 600, he had the CBR 1000 Hurricane, and then he had the 600 Ninja, 1986 model. And I said, "Yo, let me borrow your bike one night." He said, "Okay, take the Ninja. Go ahead." I kept that bike for about 9 hours straight. I did not get. I didn't want to give it back. I was riding up and down Ocean Avenue to Coney Island, back and forth. I was in love with it. It was a comfortable bike, fast. I brought it back like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. He was like flipping that I woke him up to like bring the bike back. He was like, "Yo, just put it in my yard. You didn't have to wake me up."
Right.
So that began my little quick fascination with Kawasaki, and I actually bought a 600 Ninja. So,
Yeah, but
which was cool.
you're not rocking a Kawasaki anymore, though. You jumped ship.
Nah, I mean, I was kind of always in love with a Yamaha, but like the Kenny Robert days, and the YZR 500, and I used to buy like the little toy model and paint the guy, and I all that stuff. So that traditional Yami yellow, which everybody knows me. If you look here, like you'll see, I got the yellow AGV, and yellow's always been my color. That's like my trademark. So a lot of people that know me, they know me strictly by yellow. Yellow bike, yellow shoes, yellow shirt, yellow jacket, yellow, yellow, yellow. I got like maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 yellow lids. Like anything with yellow, I will buy.
Okay.
I'm a sucker for yellow. So, but yeah, and then I stopped riding for a while. I stopped riding for like 12, 13 years. When I was with my ex, she didn't approve of motorcycles. She didn't want me on motorcycles. Oh, you're gonna kill yourself, yada yada yada. It's funny. I used to be in Rockaway, and I used to see DRA like coming through, boom, boom, boom. And every time I used to see them, I was like, man, I'm gonna get me a bike. Man, I gotta get me another bike. And it just one season after another, it just snowballed. No bike, no bike, no bike. And then finally, when I decided to leave her, I felt like I was not only free from the relationship, but I was free to get my own bike now.
Yeah.
Like I didn't have to answer anybody. So I had two cars. I had a car and a truck, and I was like, you know what? Let me just sell my truck because I'm not using it. And I was like, let me buy a bike. And then I was off and running from there. And that's when I jumped back into Yami, and I bought a 2006 R6, the 50th anniversary, which is like the Kenny Roberts livery. That's like my dream bike. So I was like, all right. And then after that, I got the 2006 R1 uh, 50th anniversary limited edition, and that bike was gorgeous. It had the Steenies, it had the Olin suspension. It was a limited. It was like 455 out of 500. I was in love with that bike. Oh my gosh.
You said that one had
And then
an
one day,
unfortunate end, though, right?
yeah, some guy blew a stop sign on me in front of the cops. They were pulling somebody over, and it was like 25 miles an hour. I hit the car and got thrown. I broke my arm again, which I had broke, before. So it's more prone to break again. And the bike got totaled. So I wasn't even upset that I broke my arm. I was just upset the bike was totaled. So, so they paid out on it. I stayed out of work like 3 months. And then I was like, okay. And then I found out that in 2015, they were coming out with the 60th anniversary. So I was already like, that's it. I'm getting that bike. I ran to the dealer. Like, I was like, yo, here's $400. I don't care if the bike comes out 3 months from now. Just put me in line. I want the first one. I don't want to hear nothing. So, and then that was it. 2 months later, I put that on the bike in like February. I think it was like April 24th. I rode right out of New York Motorcycle on Jamaica Avenue with the bike. And that was it. That was all she wrote. So I'm actually waiting for the 70th anniversary right now in 2026.
What about now? What you got right now?
I have the 2016 R1, which I did some work to it. It's not stock. I, did some custom work to it and stuff, and I maintain it. And then a year later, I was at a dealer and I was test riding the RS4 and looking at a couple of the bikes, and I saw this MV Augusta, the 800 Brutale RC, the Reporto Corsa, and it's a naked bike. It's a very, it's no plastics, no nothing. It really wasn't my style, but it looked so unique. I was like, this is a naked bike, but you see the engine, you can see the frame, the exhaust is 3 cylinders, there's this 3 little pipes that's like that arched out.
Mm.
And I was like, yo, this bike is crazy. I was like, I'd never seen one of these bikes on the street. So I went home that night after test riding the RSV4, and I wasn't too impressed with the RSV4. Not saying that the RSV4 is not a good bike, but to me, it's not an R1. So I was like, all right. So I was like, you know what? I want this bike. And I called the dealer the next day, and a couple of days later, I had to come back down there and put down a deposit. And like 2.5 months, 3 months later, I got the bike, and it was it. So, Italian bikes, it's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
Whole different ballgame.
That's what you were saying yesterday. It's just like a totally different feel, right?
Yeah, the bike, it's so light. The wheelbase is a lot shorter than my R1. It's about 80, 90 pounds lighter than the R1.
That much, really?
It's yeah. That's like I think it's like 360 watt, something like that. It's much lighter. I mean, once you jump on it, you can tell.
That's crazy.
It's so light. It's very agile. You don't even have to think about moving it. It just goes. And it's weird. It even comes with a 200 rear tire stock. And it's weird because the R1 comes stock with the 190s. Most leader bikes.
Yeah, 190.
The R1M, the R1M is the only stock bike I know that from Yami that comes with the 200 for some reason. But most guys on the street, some guys switch out 200s, if they want to. Yeah. Hey, that's your choice,
So where did?
But yeah, I love that bike. It's
where
very
along
light.
the lines, like along the, through the years, where did the chef come in? Where did Chef BILLZ come in?
That I've always been around with food because, like I said, I started out buying my first bike at McDonald's, and then I just kind of stayed into food.
In heaven from there.
Yeah, I mean, hey, you can cook, you can make money, and you can buy a bike. So that just kind of snowballed. And then I was like, you know what? I kind of played around with for a while, and I was like, you know what? Let me go to culinary arts school and like get more serious into my craft. And I did that, and it was ironic. I was working for American Express at the time, at World Financial near Ground Zero. So, and I was doing that during the day, and then I would do culinary school at night, and then I had a part-time job on the weekends up in the Bronx at this rehab center or whatever the heck it was. So food was all around me, and it was cool because like I'm at work, whatever I learned the night before at school, I could practice at work. Whatever I need at work, or I need to practice stuff, or I get advice or whatever, I can. So I was ahead of the game. When I got back to culinary school at night, it was like dudes was like, "Yo, how do you know how to do this? How do you know how to do?" I was like, "Dude, I'm doing this all day at work. Like, if I needed a fillet of salmon, I go to work and fillet like 20 salmons just to practice on them, for my practical." So it was cool. But you got to have that passion. Anything in life that you like, and if you have that passion, and if they're willing to pay you for it, dude, that's a blessing. Because then you come to work and you're like, listen, if it's something that you're real passionate about, you wouldn't even have to pay somebody to do it. You'd be like, freak it, I'll do it anyway. But my original plan, believe it or not, was when MMI was out in Florida. I was going to go down to Florida, become a motorcycle mechanic, and then move to California and just work on bikes for the rest of my life. That was my whole original thing. Yeah, because back then, back then Cali had like 3-4 million bikes registered. So I was like, okay, you could ride all year round, you could work on bikes, like that's the life. So, but
Butter, how did you come across this guy? How did you guys meet?
I met Chefy, I think through April, right? We met through April, Chef?
I think so. I'm not even sure.
Had to be 30 April because everything was always with 30 April and you guys. But the funny thing is, BILLZ is old enough to remember the schedule because my brain has I have like Alzheimer's sometimes. But BILLZ, what was the bike schedule in the mid 90s, late 90s? Well, it was like Sundays we would go to Nathan's up in, what was it, Rockland County or something like that, right? It was like Sundays one night. Wednesdays was like Great Papayas on West 8. Remember that? And then it would be like Thursday would be at another like Nathan's. It was just like, but when I say bike night, it was like hundreds of bikes literally closing down the street. It used to be like,
I remember the TSS days. I don't know if you remember the TSS on Linden.
Oh yeah. Oh shit. What night? Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Every night we had a different night. Because I remember, I don't know if you remember Sidus, the guy with the Hayabusa, big diesel guy, old school guy.
I might have remembered. I'm not sure.
His wife's name was Pinky. She used to have like a pink bike back in the day. So I used to ride with him when I was younger. Like my first hang around guys was like him and Wink and those guys and Fabian and Booby got arrested. So and like every night there was like a different night. Like for all us guys, it was like West, like Great Papayas on West 8th, and then it was like Nathan's on this day, and then Nathan's over there. So every day, like those are the good old days, Bills. Like
Yeah.
we you can't get those days back, man. Like those are the good old
Yeah,
days where like
TSS, it was like one parking lot would be all bikes, the other parking lot would be cars. I remember I had my Ninja 600, and I thought I was the man. Like you couldn't tell me anything. And this dude pulled up in a brand new 1987 FZR 1000, and he did the burnout, and he came through. And I looked at him, and he just shut me down. I was like, I wouldn't even think about racing this guy. Like, there's no way.
the
And I just,
FCR 1000. That's the
yeah, I was
deluxe
like,
edition.
with the double round headlights. I was in love with that bike.
Yeah,
Oh my god, so
that was
awesome.
my first bike, the FZR. I had the FZR
Yeah,
600.
yeah. And they would, at night, we go on the conduit. They would shut the traffic down, and then people would race, and that was like my first real taste of the culture. And I was like, that was it. Like, from there you're off and running. So
That's what's up. So tell us a little bit about. I know COVID-19. You had just recently opened a business. You've been a successful cook and a successful businessman for a very long time. I know at one point you had like one of the dopest, hottest pizza food trucks throughout the city. People would come visit you all the time. I see pictures of people just constantly riding out. You were really good with like motorcycle discount, like, hey guys, bring the bikes out, come see me. So you was always beloved in that. What made you change from that to go into the restaurant business?
well, I had a falling out with my business partner last year after the US Open. So make a long story short, he owes me compensation, and I'm, instead of just me just whacking him in the head with a monkey wrench, I took him to court, litigate and take him to court and sue him. So, unfortunately with all the corona stuff, that all got pushed off because originally I remember like the time frame was like April, and then once this happened in March, everything just got pushed back.
Somebody got company.
He's not a special guest.
Oh yeah, it's probably it's probably Ling Ling ready to come give you your massage.
Did he order food?
This is the first time. This is a funny one. So yeah, so Bills. So I know early 2020 it was a big excitement. You opened your new restaurant. You was working with some partners out in Flatbush. Remember coming out to some great food, and then COVID-19 hit. What are your plans after COVID-19? Are you planning to open the restaurant again, or you plan to like?
That right now, it's not looking too good. And then the funny thing is, like, like just now, they went back to the 25% rule. But if you have a bar, you can have the bar. Then they also went to the permanent outside dining. And then, like, they're talking about they might possibly shut certain areas down again based off their zip. So they might do a full shut down again. So even a lot of restaurants I know that stayed open, that's been desperately trying to stay open financially, they've been having a lot of headaches. And for them to get shut down again, it would make it even more, financial hardships. I had the option to stay open, but I said to myself, okay, with takeout and delivery, and then with the fees and all that, it's not gonna be enough. Because Grubhub and Seamless alone, they take like 30-40%. They rob you blind with the fees. They hit you over with a fee for everything. Delivery fee, commission fee, processing fee, this fee, that fee. I mean, if I had a $95 order, I walk away with like $62. So how are you getting 30 some dollars from me? And all you're doing is processing the order and delivering it. I'm the one buying the food, I'm cooking it, sending it out, everything else. And you're taking
And then Uncle Sam tax you on that too.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Did y'all just hear that dude come to my door? Is that why y'all talking about it?
What the hell was it?
Yo, it was one of the Grubhub guys. They always do that. They always go to the wrong building. They always bring my. It's for the building next door. It happens all the time.
I would have just took the food.
Yeah, actually, you could have just took the food, and the real customer would have called Grubhub, and they would have given a refund or just free sent out the order.
True.
A lot of times with them, I used to make the food, and the food would sit, and they would come like a half an hour late, and then I would have to cancel the order, get reimbursed, and they need to make the order again, or the customer would just say, "Oh, frustrated, no, I don't want it," and then they give you a negative review online because, and that's not due to no fault of my own. That's due to the delivery guy.
Well, some people
Grubhub will constantly put in orders, and they don't even have anybody to deliver the food, which is insane.
Wow,
So yeah.
that's some
I know
crazy
some
ass
people
shit.
just leave that negative review anyway, just because they're disgruntled people.
Yeah,
So my
I mean, that was the biggest negative review on my page was, the food is late, it's cold,
Mm.
the condition of it, and, they don't get it. Like, I don't have my own delivery person. I'm at their mercy. And when you're at their mercy, you have no choice. Like, it's like I can't cook the food and then run out and go deliver it.
Mm.
I wish I could, but, you know,
so
in-house
let me ask
delivery people, it's a lot better.
let me ask you a question. So do you have any plans to well, not that you have any plans, but are you doing any private catering events? Are you doing I know the motorcycle community, you're beloved in it. So how they been treating you since this whole thing?
Oh no, it's cool. I mean, trust me, a lot of people hit me up, yo, what's going on with your spot? Even though the corona, people was like, listen, let's just go over there. We'll open it, we'll come in the bar, we'll like hang out in the back, and you just go in the basement and cook the food and just like do it on the low. And they were serious about that. Like, but nah, I mean, I'm not really doing any catering because my regular house, I'm not really set up like that. I don't have the proper equipment. If I had access to the proper equipment, that'd be a different story. But I don't know. I'm still looking at a couple of things, but right now a lot is on hold and a lot of everything's up in the air right now, because even
You
the last next 4 months of this month, October, November, December, who knows what's gonna happen like in the next 3, 4 months,
Yeah,
you
You know,
know?
I'm a
actually,
big fan. I've always told you like we should have like Big Bill's Cookout.
mm.
Like this should be a biker event, strictly Bill's cooking, wings and franks and burgers and Chef
Nah,
Rob.
dude, had my spot stayed open, we would have did some type of bike night. We had the backyard, we had the grill. People come, everybody was like waiting for bike season to
Mm.
come. Once the weather would break and they would come. So it just bad timing, like very, very bad timing. So,
I don't want to
you
talk
know.
all just about doom and gloom, but I think you had mentioned it yesterday, Bill's. New York might actually start closing stuff down again, right? Did you hear that too?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
That's crazy.
Because right now I'm with a PPE company and they're considered essential, but they're talking about shutting down for zip codes, for this, for
Mm.
that. If they do another complete shutdown, financially, it's going to hurt a lot of
Mm.
people, a lot of businesses. Like they may never recover because they're already in debt now. A lot of these people spend a lot of money for labor, for their operating costs. They had to build outside, dining, and even then, they're barely skating by.
Mm.
I have
Yep.
this one Dominican restaurant near my job. We've actually been going to this restaurant every day for lunch since we got
Mm.
there, and that's been like last like 2, 3 months. And even then, she just started opening inside, but I get it. I empathize with them 100%, and I understand the whole thing. The small mom and pop businesses are going to hurt more than the larger business. The larger business, even if they get bailed out, the MTA, the
Mm.
airlines, all them people, they don't have to worry about that. You know, but and then it's not like they even SBA turned me down, and I was shocked. I was like, why would you turn me down?
Mm.
But then you got people that don't even have legit businesses, and they were getting. So you know, where's the irony in
So
that?
I gotta let our viewers know who don't know you. I mean, if they don't know you, they're probably not much bikers. But I mean, it is what it is. If you don't know Bills, Bill supports everybody. He's at every event if he could. He's always around with his people. He's never alone, and everybody knows him. But not only do you do chefing, but please let us know more about the BNN Network.
Oh, okay. Well, the funny thing was, I've always been kind of like calling it that for the last couple of years. A friend of mine, Barbie, she actually suggested, she's like, hey, you need to like do a logo and you should start doing shirts. And so finally this year, I kind of went out on a limb and I started doing, like you have CNN News, Josh, you have CNN News.
Mm.
So I have BNN News because, if you watch CNN News, all you hear about is, world events and what's going on in other countries and this and that. So I figured, okay, let's come up with BNN News, which is Biker News Network. So this is like a network of news or information that's based around bikes. Whether it's an event,
Mm.
if somebody went down and they're in an accident, your bike might have got stolen. Because I've actually been fortunate enough to help people recover their stolen bikes. I had one guy, I didn't even know him, but he was one of Charlie Chop Shop's customers, and we located his bike up in the Bronx. And then I hit up Charlie, and Charlie went up there with the truck and recovered the bike.
Oh, I
You
thought you were
know,
gonna say you went up there
so
and
a
broke some
lot of
kneecaps. That's what I thought you were about to say.
oh, well, the thing was they abandoned it, and the person that found the bike, they sat in their car and they sat on the bike waiting for him to
Mm.
come. They didn't. The guy was so. I mean, if the guy was there, it might have been a different story. But hey. So, but I like I said a couple of times, and it really felt good because I was like, wow, I was at work. I remember working in the kitchen cooking, and through a couple of minutes on my phone, it was like I reached out to certain people, and then boom, they got the bike back. And the guy who owned the bike, I didn't know him personally. I never met him a day in my life, and he was like, dude, like, thanks. I was like, wow, no problem. Like, I get it because anybody can be in that situation. That's
And
like,
I wanna give you my apologies because I know I recently, me and my family purchased the BNN Network shirt. I didn't wear it today because I wore it at a special bike event on Saturday. So I
all
want
right,
everybody to know I had it
all
on.
right.
You know what I mean? And I didn't get
Listen,
to wash it in time.
it's all good. So I mean, so far, I mean, I've done like BNN t-shirts, and this month for the cancer, for some of the cancer events, I specifically picked out a specific pink champion hoodie that I was doing for the event, and a lot of people have been ordering those. So I mean, other things, I got a couple of other things maybe working, which I'm not going to speak on right now, but who knows? Maybe this might be part of a new avenue, to
I
pursue.
like it.
You
I like
know,
it. So
so
how does somebody check out? I'm not in the know. How does somebody check out the BNN? Like, how do they see what's going on? And
right now it's basically on my personal IG page, which is Will Chef, WILCHEF, the number 4 and U at
Instagram.
on
yeah, I got
Instagram.
it under your
The
picture
only thing on
right
my
now.
page,
Actually, anybody that's watching at home, they
yeah.
can see it.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I just noticed that. Sorry. So the only thing is my page is private, but like, usually I'll pretty much approve most people. So, but yeah, you go on my page, you'll see, of course, a lot of bike related stuff. You'll see whether it's, might be a product review, it might be a bike, new lid coming out. It might be, unfortunately, lately we've had a lot of accidents, a lot of
Mm.
deaths, stuff like that. I try to make it more bike related, even though it's my personal page. But a lot of people like it because, like, even simple things like sometimes it can be checkpoints. There'll be a checkpoint on the belt. There'll be a checkpoint on the conduit. Like one guy, he went out one day going from work. I'm not going to mention his name, but he forgot to check my page, and then he ran right into a
Mm.
checkpoint. And then he's like banging his head against the wall because he's like, "Yo, if I would have checked their page, I would have found out that there was a checkpoint, and I would have went through the Grand Central." So, but most people come to me and be like, hey, basic, respect. Hey, I appreciate your page. Sometimes you have this, you have that. It's informative, or just to let people know stuff. And that's the whole thing because it's so many of us out there, and when you can reach out to people and other people reach out to you, it's very good on no matter what level it is. I mean, I try to tell people even if it's something I don't know if I can reach out to you or I can reach out to somebody else, or even if somebody's looking for a bike or looking for this, I'll reach out to certain people. Hey, you got a brand new bike? Give me a price. You got this? You can give me that, and I'll just play the middleman, and then I connect them to and let them go off and do their thing.
That's a beautiful
So
Yeah,
thing.
that's
I could definitely vouch for that. I had Shay hit me up. I mean, he hits me up all the time. Yo, my boy's looking for this bike, and I've made quite a few sales with that, and I appreciate your business for that. Mad Transport just shouted you out. He's like, yo, shout
Yeah.
out to BNN Network.
yeah, yeah,
Shout out to Damien, man. He's always watching the show. I appreciate him.
yeah.
But
Man, Transport's a lifesaver, man. He's out there no matter what. Like I was on the Whitestone Expressway one day and a biker got stranded. I didn't know the guy, and I zoomed past him on the highway in my car, and I saw the bike, and I'm like, what is this dude doing out here? So I threw my shit in reverse, threw my hazards on, came back, and I'm like, dude, you're all right. And he's like, no, the bike don't start. So where he was at, it was an on ramp from College Point Boulevard, not an exit ramp. We turned that shit into an exit ramp, bro. I threw the car, came around the entrance ramp, put my high beams on and the hazards, and he rolled down in neutral behind me to get him off the highway because he was in a very bad spot. Bikes always break down like in the worst possible spot. So we
word,
got
word.
him off the highway. Yeah, we got him off the highway, and we were at College Point Boulevard. And then who comes? Mad Transport. He pulls up, and I'm like, "Yo, what's up?" And I just saw him like maybe a couple of days before with one of Triple X members when he went down on his bike in Greenpoint. So it was just like funny how he just came and he was there. And then I ended up
Yeah.
using him a couple of times, where I got stranded, and he came very promptly, very quickly. He has his wench. He pulls it in. He knows his thing. You can't beat it, man. Like you can't
You
beat it.
know, insurance certified, insurance accepted. I mean, yo,
Yeah,
he's everywhere.
every yeah.
Somebody recently just rear-ended him on some faggot shit and took off.
Oh,
So
really?
hopefully,
Oh,
yeah,
no, that
somebody rear-ended his truck really bad on Eastern Parkway and just kept going.
good on.
A Nissan Altima two-door. So we've been on the lookout for that cocksucker because he's got
Wow,
like a forest green paint, so you can see the forest green paint because he hit his car hard. So
Mm.
wow.
we looking out for you, homeboy, in the Nissan Altima.
Yeah. There's a
That I didn't know.
yeah.
So
Yeah, that happened a couple of days ago for him.
Yeah, that's awesome though. I didn't even know about that. You didn't mention that earlier. So that's like the epitome of the community though. That's awesome. But
yeah,
We
go for it.
so I know so this weekend we had an amazing set of events. I know last week we spoke to Auntie April about them. Did you attend the great breast cancer event?
yeah. It was. I was also on a somber note because when I pulled up to the firm clubhouse, one of their members had went down that morning.
Mm.
Yeah,
So
shout outs to Ian, man. Speedy recovery, bro. To the firm family,
yeah,
love you, love and respect to the firm family. We got nothing but love and respect for them. This
yeah.
was
I was
Ian had
shocked
a,
when I found out it was him. You
and
know, because I
this
mean,
is it wasn't even his fault. From real full details, it was not even his fault that he got into this accident.
yeah. But of course, the Daily News they put out an article and they put their slant on it to make it. They focus more on the nurse, and then they did the way they wrote it. They didn't. Of course, they didn't put everything. They didn't even say she ran the red light. Or
No,
none of that.
absolutely
They
not.
just Yeah, but for somebody that doesn't ride or is non-biased or whatever and just looks at the article and reads it, the way it was written up, you would think like it was the biker's fault, and then you have all these other bikers in the area being a-holes with their bikes. I just was like, wow, like they just took the whole cancer event and just kicked it to the
Mm.
curb, because of that. And to me, it was sad. It was really, really sad. So a lot of people was pulling up. People didn't know what was going on. Once I saw highway and everything, I knew, it was something serious.
So how did that affect the event? Because I mean, I saw a lot of bikes, a lot of videos. Like it really looked like it was a huge turnout, man. So from
Yeah,
your
it
perspective,
was.
how did
It
it
was.
go?
I mean, it just, they kind of diverted the traffic, and then it got to the point where everybody was just scrambling where to park. But it was, I would estimate it had to be at least 400 bikes.
Yeah,
E-
I mean, I counted three
You know,
waves of bikes because I saw bikes coming
yeah,
in waves, and
yeah, and then we actually got split because some people went. It was like three different separate ride outs. Like it was weird. Like some people went through the tunnel, some people went through the Brooklyn Bridge, and then we had the Sunset Park crew, which we got diverted, and then we came back around, and then we went through the tunnel. So it was wow. Like it was,
I
but it
saw
was
some videos of the Hope Lodge. I saw that you guys lit up the block like we did last year. I mean, last year we
yeah,
had a great turnout too. So it looked really good. Shout outs to Freedom Blocks, the firm for hosting it this year. They really went all out. It was a really great event. I saw tons of pictures and videos.
yeah.
Unfortunately,
And then
uh,
TRA, they came through in the morning. I didn't know, I didn't know at the time that they made a full on breakfast for everyone. And I had already ate, so I felt bad when I got there. I didn't want to eat again. But had I known that, I would have starved myself until I got there.
well, I heard a lot of people donated food because I saw Black City Riders. Shout out to Black City Riders, my man Shape. A lot of people cooked and they were bringing in food, and there was a lot of people this year from different clubs bringing in food
Yeah,
and they were chefing it up. So that was pretty dope. I saw that.
yeah. And then what they did this time, they after the event, they did a barbecue at Six Cycles. So I know certified ladies came in and they helped with some food and barbecue, and so that was like the after parties, which was good because then people
Yo,
came back from
shout outs to certified ladies because they did all of that. And then
yeah,
I saw them at Hood Riders at the fish fry, like about
yeah,
12 o'clock at night. They was deep over there. I was like, what?
yeah, yeah.
These girls be all over. So shout out to certified ladies.
Yeah,
They
they
definitely
were
did their thing.
Hazel and them, they were working overtime that day. Like it was a really, really, really long day.
Yeah,
So,
I got to get Hazel on the show. She's a sweetheart. She's always
so
showing love on the page. So she definitely I got
yeah,
to get her on the show one night.
yeah.
So
Me
now,
and Hazel, we go back from the Smash days. So I remember to be with
oh.
Smash. So
So yo, I got so I know guys weren't welcome to Sunday's ride out from Titi April, but I'm pretty sure you got the 411 because you are the man with all the ladies on the bikes. The ladies love you. Not like Not like you pimping. Let me not make it seem like you pimping girls. They love you
Nah,
because of who you are. You're like a real. You're a people person. My wife has fond respect and admiration for you. So and it's just your character. So a lot of women in the bike world gravitate because I know you're not out there trying to like sleep with every girl you meet. You're
I
very conscious
listen.
and
I did a post about 2 weeks ago, I think it was, and I said in the post, I said I'm a gentleman first and a rider second. So I've always tried to be a gentleman. My father raised me like that. My mom's in Brooklyn, to be respectful. You keep a certain level with everybody, whether it's male or female, and you maintain that level, unless otherwise. So yeah, you know how it is on the set, and people, they want to run around and do whatever. That's their thing, fine. But even I remember, in fact, I was talking to Roddy the other day about the first time I met April. I never forget. The first time I met April was at New York Yami at a bike wash,
I
and she was dealing with her own thing and whatever. And I approached her and, hey, how you doing? My name is BILLZ. I introduced myself, and she was like real taken back because she was dealing, like I said, with other stuff. So she just was like polite, hey, how you doing? Da, da, da. And I went across the street and I felt like, okay, like I shouldn't have even did that. I shouldn't even approach her, but it was cool.
yeah,
So
she's
I
a
didn't.
sweetheart. She
Nah,
loves you.
I didn't take it personal. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, she didn't know me, I didn't know her, and she was dealing with other things. So I get it. Now years later that I know, I get it. So
So based on your female interactions, how did her Sunday ride out go?
Sunday went was very successful as always. I'm kind of like the unofficial helper. I help move bikes. I take all the pictures because everybody wants to be in the pictures. So
Uh,
if you got to take the picture, you're not gonna be in the picture.
that's
So
why I asked because I know you're there when you're not supposed to be there because there's
yeah,
no guys.
Mm, you know, but it's more just like I said, moral support, help out. I'll block the streets, I'll block the roads or whatever to make sure everybody gets through safe. Because if you got 30, 40 bikes coming through, and yeah, they all know how to ride. I mean, that's one thing I give respect to them all. These women know how to ride. They're not just, oh, let me just get on a bike and I want to look cute. I've been riding with a lot of them. Sin, Hazel, April. I've been riding with a lot of them for years, whether it's, solo or with other guys or whoever. And they have that passion. So once you have that passion and I see that driving that passion and I see your character, whether you're male or female, I'm gonna gravitate to that,
Mm.
and that's the whole thing.
So on that note, top 10 female riders, you know.
Oh man, I had a feeling you was gonna hit me with
I,
that,
I hit
man.
I hit everybody with
Every
that.
show top 10 something.
Oh my gosh. That's kind of tough because when you say a top 10 rider, I don't base a rider just on their skill. I mean, a lot of people have skill. Like, like I've never been to the track. I only been to the track once to watch an event, and that was a couple years back. And I have yet to hit the track and get that track experience and the confidence and all that.
Feel
But
free to come up.
no, no, definitely. I was actually planning on this year, and then like I said, all this other stuff happened, so it's just like, ugh. But I don't base a rider, a rider would just not just on their skill. People think, oh yeah, this person he's the best rider because you can take a curve at 200 miles an hour or whatever the case may be. I get that, but to me, it's more the whole complete package. It's more of okay, you have that passion, you have that drive, you like to ride, you enjoy riding. Do you ride a lot? Not saying based on your miles, but like Redbone from Lady Riders, like she rides all year round, no matter what. I don't care if it's raining out there, if it's snow. I mean, she every time I turn around, she's on her bike. Like she rides a lot. April rides a lot, no matter what. That's because
She
it's in her
rides in the
blood.
ring.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't like the rain, but hey, you know how it is. But when you have that passion, you got that drive, and it's in your blood, you would ride no matter what. Like, and that's the whole thing. So I don't know. I mean, top 10, that's kind of hard. I mean,
Well,
and I wouldn't say
based on what you said, I gotta think Amy is in your top 10 because she rides everywhere.
yeah, yeah, I would say she definitely is in the top 10. It's just, I mean, there's a lot of female riders out there that ride and they have that passion, whether they on the street, whether they're on the track or both. I know some girls, they do everything. They do track, they do the street, they do dirt bikes, they do quads.
Yeah.
Coco, she does her thing. There's so many women out there that it's it's awesome. You know.
Shout out to my girl Coco. We was at the track together not so long ago. That's my
Yeah.
G.
Oh my God. One night I was in Steinway after all this before all this big shutdown in Basura and Brick and everything. And I was out there like 4 o'clock in the morning. I don't know why. And who pops up in a freaking quad? Fucks freaking Coco. She just popped up
Oh,
out of nowhere. And I was just like, wow, you know? So it was insane that night on Steinway. So you know how Steinway gets.
So let's. I know the guys is a little bit easy. I think because the guys, there's a lot of great riders out there, man. So
The guys aren't actually as easy neither. I mean, I met a lot of indie riders. I met a lot of guys that are patch and they have that passion. It's like a lot of guys from True 31, Street Supremacy. A lot of these clubs, a lot of these guys, they go hard. But now it's like when you get a little older, it's not always about the speed or the skill. Like I said, I'm looking more at the passion and the ride and all that. So, but there's a lot of people like that ride and they ride very great. But also it's part of like, okay, if you're riding with somebody, how do you sync with them?
Mm.
Because anybody can get on the highway and just take off on you.
oh yeah, absolutely.
That's not riding together.
Well, the big
So
thing for me is your
and then
rider awareness. Like you got to know the
yeah,
people around you, not know the people around you, but just be aware of people around you. Some people just have no situational awareness. I don't like riding with people like that, no matter what. That's just
yeah, we were going to the write off for Alex, this guy that passed. He was a hit and run out in Suffolk County. And he was at Jamie. No, he was at the Rough Rider OG write out. And it was ironic. April actually took a video of him literally hours before he passed.
mm,
And I just knew him by bike. Hey, how you doing? Blah blah. We never really like got on that level. And we were going out there, and she ride a female. She had a Gixxer 600 or whatever. And we got on the Bell Parkway in the Southern State and all that. And of course, she was just like that. She had that tunnel vision. She wasn't aware of the cars in front of her, on the side of her. She couldn't like anticipate, which I get. She's a new rider. April's up front. She's in the middle. I'm in the back, and I'm bringing up the rear, trying to hold her down. So, and I told her afterwards when we got off, I was like, listen, there's a couple of times like these cars were coming over to you, and I would have to either beat my horn or get ahead of them so they can see me parallel to them so they don't like run into you. And that takes a while. It takes experience, and you got to try to anticipate these cars and what they're gonna do, and you see stuff coming from a mile away. But
mm,
even when you're riding with people, after you a while, if I ride with certain people, I know how they ride. I can pretty much anticipate their moves also.
It's funny you say that because like I ride. I like to ride. I go long distance, whatever. And I
Yeah,
got
yeah,
both. I got cruiser and sport bike. I rode with. I'm pretty sure you know Slow Javon from Staten Island.
yeah.
So Slow before he was originally 730. Now he's Thunderguard. Shout out to Thunderguards. Um, so I never rode with him. Met him one time a few years back. We were riding out with Gil Munoz. He's famous for his Honda Repsol, and we went out to his brother's house in Atlantic City, and it was like the elite guys. It was like a bunch of dudes. SBR got some great riders. We rode with some great people back then, and then this kid Javon showed up with some dudes from Staten Island.
Mm.
Like we're hitting a buck 60, buck 70. Garden State is like completely open, and these dudes came out of nowhere and just like wherever they came from, they caught up, and it was like I'm gonna say 15 to 20 bikes, and we're like sitting there at like 170, and it was like if it looked like a MotoGP race, and we're all sitting there like synchronized,
Hmm.
and shout outs to Joey Six Gear. His bike ran out of gas, and it's funny this how he got his name. He never knew he had six gear, so he's hauling ass in fifth gear,
Yeah, yeah.
practically blowing the gear, and he didn't realize he's not in sixth gear, and he
It's
runs
scary.
out of gas. These motherfuckers literally push his bike on the highway. We're blowing, and these motherfuckers slow down, and they're still hauling ass, pushing his bike into the gas station. And
Wow.
I'm like, these dudes could ride because it would have been anybody. I mean, the way they handled it, it was like it happens regularly, and they
Yeah.
already knew what to do. For me, it was my first time riding with them, and then seeing the situation at hand, I was just like, holy shit. And I know Bill yourself, you're a great rider. I've seen you ride, and I know people who talk about you when you ride, and your riding game is impeccable. Your street skills, and I know people that talk about even how you're like a road captain when you don't need to be a road captain. So that really is a big thing because I'm the same way. I think Josh has ridden with me a couple of times, and I'm the type of guy that I could be up front, drop back, I count everybody, and then I head back up front. So I get it, but there's a lot of great riders out there, Bill. I mean, we could sit here for days and talk about great riders and stuff like that. But I want to know who you like. Who's your guy? Like I got my guy. Like there's my guy. No one can change how I feel about him, what he's done for me in this bike game. That guy for me is Wink 1100. And no matter what, I mean, I would have not known what it is to smell burnt rubber or feel a throttle if it wasn't for Wink 1100. So I'm always gonna give and pay homage to that guy because one, he dated my cousin, so he was always around the block of this fucking
Yeah.
bike. So I always knew who he was and where he was at. So, but who's that guy for you, man?
Um, yeah, that's a tough one. I remember when Hollywood was always doing his infamous events, and then we had that incident with the West Side Highway and all that. And that was like when I was getting back into the bike thing. And I was like, all right, let me get my license, this and that. And then one day, I mean, Hollywood was on like 8th Avenue up in Times Square. And I just happened to be coming by on my bike and I saw him. And I pulled up on him like hard, like I was doing do a drive-by on him or something. And I beeped the horn and he looked down at me like, who the fuck is this guy? And then he rolled down the window and he gave me the most humblest smile, like the most humblest grin. And I was like, this dude don't know me from a can of paint. I mean, I could have pulled out a burner and just like capped him.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
he
yeah.
was like, hey, what's up? And he gave me that nod and you know what I'm saying? And it was cool. And I was like, all right.
That's the
It-
humility in him, man. That's the humility
yeah.
in him.
It took about maybe 5 or 6 more years before he finally started following me on my page. But it's all good. You know what I'm
Yo,
saying? Once he followed me, I was like, okay, that is
It's
I'm
official.
not yeah.
that that
So
that that would be your go-to guy. I mean, listen, Hollywood is never a bad choice. Shout outs to Hollywood, fame and fortune. He,
yeah,
I met him one time, and just like you did, we instantaneously clicked. And I mean, I've shared private conversations with him, and he's just so knowledgeable and he's smart, bro. He's a smart. He knows how to market himself. I mean, he shouted me out on his NFL halftime debut. Like, come on, that's I was sitting there like, what? I'm showing the partners. I'm like, yo, he's so good. He shouted us out on the video. I'm like, yo, that's what's up.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's just so humble, man. Definitely, I love him. He's the best, man. So I definitely, he's not a bad choice ever in New York City, man.
When you have that charisma, when you have that power, when you have people that will gravitate towards you, and you can use that just more than just for writing. Like, if you want to do an event or you want to do a charity event, you want to do this, you want to, because there's so much stuff out there, like the cancer run, the toy drives, the diaper run, it's the end of violence. We have April has her pet project coming up Saturday,
Yeah,
so
the best
you know
domestic violence run. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. We
and
got that.
I'm there. I'm there in a heartbeat. I actually did me a purple hoodie with the BNN and this and that, and it's gonna be a little somber because one of my friends, Swole, passed, and last year, he was there and everything. And April was a little, she was a little off that day, so he did the burnout and everything, and it's gonna be a little somber this year because he's not gonna be here to actually do that ride, but power and like Hollywood can take it to different levels where the fashion industry can come in and say, hey, we want to put our line out, but we want to do this bike like thing. We want to advertise, or hey, we want to put you in a movie, or like SJ, she was a stunt woman for Deadpool Part Two, and that would have been milestone breaking where you can cross over into other avenues because people that don't ride, they don't understand this life. They don't get us. A lot of times the public hates us. The roads hate us. The police hate us. The press, they hate us. But
I just got my
they
first
don't
hater
get.
this week. I'm pretty proud about that
Yeah,
actually.
you know what I'm saying. So they don't get it. But
No, you're
we
right.
love this. You know.
How many years Wink 1100, Rough Riders, the Willie Boys, they were always being chased, and then like what, three of the greatest biker movies of all time. All those guys are in there doing the
Yeah,
stunts.
yeah,
So and they went from G Unit, from Rough Riders to G Unit, doing their own thing, clothing sponsors, and so I get it. You're absolutely right, man. And making that crossover is very hard because a lot of people see bikers in a negative way. Nobody ever sees us in a positive way. And I know you mentioned the infamous Pamper Run. I mean, that's been going on for almost 30 years. Shout outs to Crazy Pistons, who host this event every year. This year was a little COVID-19 strung, so they had like a pass by and drop off Pampers. So nothing stopped the event from happening. COVID kind of stopped how we did it. You know, Pinnell always did this huge barbecue, closed down 4 streets.
Yep.
There's water park for the kids, so nobody sees that. I know last year, about a year or two ago, he got a proclamation from the mayor's office, honoring him on his work with the city and Mother Hill House. That's dope. That's the level we should all try to achieve. Doing great things where people look at us and say, these are human beings as well. Because we're cooks, we're fighters, we're parents, we're school teachers, we're EMS guys, we're cops. We're just as human as most of the people who are in cages, but people don't see that. They only see the bikes. And I think shit like Sons of Anarchy sets a bad tone for everybody.
Actually,
Yeah, I remember one year we were doing the cancer run, and I was blocking traffic on the West Side Highway, and everybody's coming through, and this little lady came up to me, and she's like, "Oh my God, what is going on?" And da 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 da. And you know what I did, brother? I just simply opened up my jacket and I showed her the F cancer shirt, and I said, "We're doing a cancer write out." Then all of a sudden, her demeanor totally changed. Like I'm talking about totally 360. Then she
Listen,
was like, "Oh my God," and da 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 da, and God bless you guys, and blah 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 blah.
we was doing
What?
we was doing a 9/11 run, and a lady was sitting there not realizing she's like this. She's like this. We're riding by her, and she's just like,
yeah,
and I'm like, you stupid bitch. Do you know what we're doing? Like, you got to
Yeah.
be out your fucking mind.
we interrupted her tea and whatever else she was eating.
Oh
Yeah,
God.
but come on, if it's 9/11, I mean, like even when we did the last one, it wasn't like organized how it normally is, because the major one from Queens we didn't get to do this year because it was shut down. Last year when I went, it was like 4,000 bikes,
Yeah. Shout
and
out
I
to
s- I
myself for that.
yeah I sat out on Woodhaven for like a half an hour trying to record every single bike going by. That's how many bikes it was, and that's how long it took them to get by. You know,
65 miles of closed New York City streets.
Yeah,
Never,
yeah. The city was literally shut down, Josh. Like
no
highway
one's
came
ever done
in,
that.
he shut every exit and entrance down, and that was it. And because it's a safety issue,
Yeah.
it's not. A lot of times when we have a lot of these big runs, whether it's 3, 4, 500 bikes, 600 bikes, 1,000, 2,000 bikes, that's a safety issue. 400 bikes can't go through one red light. It's not going to happen. So once it becomes a safety issue, whether the cops like it or not, or whether the highway likes it or not, because I've had highway cops come to me and say, "Hey, today is your break. We're not gonna do whatever. This is your day. You can do what as long as you don't get out of hand, of course. But any other day when it's not an event or it's not something that's charitable,
We
then
come
it's a
with.
different story.
Yeah.
You know?
I did
So
this
and me,
unofficial one. That was still pretty powerful. It was still pretty impressive to me. I didn't do the one last year. I didn't participate last year, but this thing that we did this year was actually pretty impressive to me. I was happy with it. I know it's been
yeah,
bigger in the past though.
when we came on the Twin Towers side on the West Side Highway, I had seen so many cops just standing there, and they all just like looking and they're taking video. And then we came around the side street, whatever side street that is. There was like there was nobody over there, so we took over that whole block, and nobody bothered us, and everybody did what they wanted to do, and respectfully, it wasn't like it was just like a madhouse. You know,
You know,
even today was ironic. I was coming home on the BQE. It was some type of accident past Queens Boulevard, uh, going towards Astoria. So all the traffic was gridlock. So I white lined through it. I got past the fire department and all that, and then the whole highway's wide open. So as I'm going through the highway and there's nobody there, I see these two kids on Groms, two young 16, 17-year old. I wish I had my camera on. 16, 17-year-old kids on Groms going around in circles and playing on the highway, on the BQE, like they're outside in their backyard. So I pull up on my R1 and I'm like, yo, what the freak are you guys doing? Like, and then the cars start coming through, filtering through, and they're flying by us. So I'm like, yo, come on, we got to get off this highway, bro. Like, let's go. So they rolled, unfortunately, I'm thinking they're going to get off at Astoria Boulevard. They went all the way to 31st Street, got off at 34th, 31st, and then I caught them at 21st at the light. And I was like, dude, you guys out here with no lids on, and I get it, you want to ride, because I used to do that too, but you're playing around on a highway with a Grom that has no power. These cars will eat you alive. Stay off the highways, man. Like, and
They
put a
don't
lid
get
on.
it. They don't get it. They don't get it.
Nah, I mean,
I,
I'm no, but if you'd have ran up on this, you'd have been bewildered. You'd have been like, because it was like a scene out of a movie or something. Like who like are you kidding me? It's not like the highway was just shut down. There's a free fall and you just go on the highway and play around because
I,
there's no cars.
I tell people, play stupid games, you're gonna win stupid
That's
prizes
true.
all the
That's
time.
true.
So
Yeah, but also, I mean, sometimes you got to bring the attention to them, maybe, or just be like, "Hey, listen, you can't do that, bro. Like, come on, man. You wilding.
Mm.
That's a
yeah,
little too much."
I got a good question. Being that you're a chef,
Mm.
what is your favorite food, and what's your favorite restaurant?
Mm.
Yeah. Well, I guess that would depend on what kind of food. That's the whole thing. So, 'cause you
So
have certain restaurants for certain culinary tastes, and
so what's your favorite dish? Like, what is your favorite food, and where do you go get it?
Well, I used to have this one place up in Washington Heights, but they shut down and they turned it into a Mambo Sushi now, and it's just like it's crap. A lot of places, honestly, a lot of places don't have that passion anymore. They don't put the love in the food.
Mm.
And a lot of places now they're just producing the food, and that's a big difference. So when you're under pressure or you doing commercial cooking and you just want to produce the food and get it out there, but if you put the love in the food, even when I had my place for a short amount of time. I used to tell everybody it's simple food because Josh, the food was very simple. It
Mm.
wasn't anything complex, but it's made with the
Mm.
love.
Them
You know?
habanero wings with no yo.
Actually,
I
Yes.
literally, I literally hit the whole tray under the table with like this motherfucker's going
okay.
home.
So actually, we haven't
Yes.
even talked about Bill's. Like, what's your specialty? If I was to come and check out Bill's menu, what kind of things am I finding on your menu?
Well, my menu, like I said, was very basic. It was just contemporary American.
Mm.
But I live for Italian food. I went out to school in Bensonhurst at a young age, so I got hooked on Italian food
Mm.
at a very young age, in like fourth, fifth grade or whatever it was. And they used to send us out to Bensonhurst to go to school every day. So I got hooked on the Italians. That whole Italian lifestyle, I kind of got a glimpse of that, and both sides of the racism card,
Mm.
on the good side and the bad side. But for like 2, 3 years, and then it just kind of imploded, and then I came back to Flatbush. But yeah, I live for Italian food. I love Italian food. I
What's
do
a
a
good
couple of
Italian
dishes.
restaurant?
Riles is pretty good. There's another one I know on 57. I forgot the name. But I do one dish. I guarantee if I make it and then you eat it, Butter or Josh, you've never probably had it before in your life. And if I tell you what it is, the whole concept, you'll be like, wait a minute, this sounds very
Mm.
weird. But it tastes so freaking good.
What is it? What is it?
So
What
Indulge,
good.
is it?
indulge
Yeah.
me.
Well, I do like, all right, I do like a walnut encrusted breaded chicken with poached pears,
Hmm.
sauteed cranberries,
Hmm.
Grand Marnier sauce.
That sounds
And
delicious.
so it's
I,
like
I mean,
it's like nutty and sweety at the same
Mm.
time. But the poached pears with the cranberries, oh my god! And then with the chicken, it's in heaven. It's in heaven.
I got three
But
kitchens. You can use either one if you like. I mean, any house you can come over and just cook. I'm okay with that. You
that
jump in
can
the
work.
pool, whatever you like. Yeah. Like anytime you want to make this chicken,
I'll
feel
bring
free
my
to
own
call me.
plate.
Yeah, I mean that meal. Let's put it like that. A lot of women has been very successful with that
Mm.
meal. Let's put it like that. That and
That's the
like I'll do
key.
That's
like a goat cheese salad and they go nuts for it.
the
A
Baja
nice.
Panty. We're gonna call that the Baja Panty.
So women love to eat, man. Once you feed them, that's it. Like that's half the battle right there. So,
especially if they're in love, they don't mind picking out of your plate neither.
well, nah, I ain't got no problem with that. But yeah, like I mean, when you can cook and you can cater to people, trust me, they like that.
Mm.
So
So,
now that we're talking about like good food that we like. So I'm a small. I mean, you see how I eat, Bill. You follow me, right? There is a small. I'm a seafood kind of guy. I love seafood, like Italian food and seafood. I go to Jordan's Lobster Farm a lot. They're out in Long Beach. Really great place.
yeah, I remember
There's
you spoke about that.
there's a little Cuban spot in Park Slope. I don't know if you've been there. Have you tried my Cuban sandwich? My Cuban spot in Park Slope.
In Park Slope or in Red Hook?
It's in Park Slope. It's on Carroll Street. It's on Carroll between Third and Fourth. It's
Oh,
a little hole in the wall. I mean, the window is literally like 6 or 8 by 4,
oh, okay.
and there's two brothers. One's from Argentina, half Argentina, half Cuban, Brazilian and Cuban. Excuse me. The best Cuban sandwich on this side of the fucking equator. I
Mm.
tell you that.
What's it called again?
Uh, it's called My Cuban Spot. BILLZ. let me know. I'm not supposed to eat that type of food anymore because of the heart attack.
Yeah, I know
But
your diet has changed drastically.
I haven't eaten it, but the doctor said I can cheat once a month. So if you want to go, let's just go, you and I, and have a sandwich. You
All
will
right.
not regret it.
It only has to be once a month though. You
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well,
can't
you'll
be
be my
doing it once
special.
a
You'll be
week
my
now.
special cheat day. My cheat day would be with Bills.
All right, no doubt, no doubt. So
Yeah, I'm
maybe
gonna have
that
to
and
check
some
this place
habanero.
out.
Well,
So we got a great weekend. This is coming up. I know April's event is Saturday, 5 p.m. Forest
first-
Park Bandstand.
yeah.
So it's a domestic violence right out. You got anything going on Sunday? You want to say Monday? I know you might have some events you want to talk
Off the top of my head, I don't even know. I gotta look at the phone. I know they're gonna do a write up for Black that passed
on
last week.
Sunday. Yeah, the tickets
Yeah.
right out Sunday.
So
Yeah, I heard about that.
he passed through the appendicitis. He didn't pass on his bike, but nonetheless, he was a very good guy. He was always cool with me. I had good vibes with him. We partied a couple of times too. So it was unfortunate. This year's just been really bad, like really
That's for
bad.
sure.
Oh,
I definitely would like to give you the opportunity now to shout your people out, friends, co-bikers, bike clubs. I know you're with zero to no, wait, am I?
yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
zero to
0 to 100.
100. Yeah. Shout outs to 0 to 100.
I just want to shout out everybody, man. Everybody that's in the lifestyle, everybody that rides, everybody that knows me, people that don't know me, you can always approach me. I'm pretty much approachable. I try to be laid back
Mm.
with everybody. It's not about what kind of bike you got or how you ride or this or that. As long as you have that passion, as long as you're willing to learn or whatever, it's always there. And when you meet people, you see that. So pretty much shout out to everybody.
Mm.
And shout out to all the women riders. Big shout out to all the male riders. But everybody's out there doing their thing, and we all come together a lot of times for one cause. It's a wonderful thing, man. It's a beautiful thing, bro.
Mm.
You know.
All right, Josh, take it away.
But you got anything to say to close? You don't have any events going on this weekend?
I have so I got some amazing news. I rekindled with my daughter after so many years, 6 years. She came to my doorstep looking for me, and I'm here doing the show like it with a heavy heart.
Mm.
She's out right now with my sons, trying to they're getting together and they're getting to know each other because when I last saw her, my kids were young. My oldest was about her age, but that affected my family a
Mm.
lot. But she came and I welcomed her with open arms. I'm still like I'm shocked. I'm shell shocked. So I did the show because she's like, Dad, do your show. I'm gonna go get some fries and ice cream with the bros. So they took off and they was like, just do your show. So I'm excited. It was a good week. So I'm really gonna be focused. I'm gonna step back. I've been meaning, after the heart attack, I was gonna step back anyway, but just stepping back from a lot of events. Not that I don't want to be a part of them. My heart is always gonna be
Mm.
there. But I have to make up for 6 years. So
Yeah, man.
uh, I might have to I'm gonna take the bike in for service and do some work because I want to ground myself to be around my child for whatever long period of time I can. So I'll be kind of off the scene. I do want to make the domestic violence event because I think that's an important event, and the more men that go, the better that is for domestic violence in terms of that we support this stuff. And I would like to show my daughter what we do as a motorcycle community because she has never been a part of that. And being a young lady, I think that's important for her as well. So I got a busy weekend, and I don't know.
That's a beautiful
I've
thing,
been
man. That's a beautiful
I've,
thing.
I've, been- I've been I've been tossed a 15-year-old young lady, and I got to start from there. It's like she's not a little baby anymore. So it's like, what do I do? So it's a lot, but I'm excited. And hopefully I'll be around for plenty of events. I know there's a lot of events. People can always reach out to Chef. Chef's always posting an event. I think if I post an event, he posts like 10 times more than I do. But so you can always reach out to either page. So and for me, shout outs to Mike Prolidge, our sponsors, Prospect Power Sports, Cotton Hustle, everybody that supports us, certified knee draggers. I appreciate it. Bills, again, thank you, my friend, for taking the time out of your busy.
Anytime, it's my pleasure, bro.
Yeah, and again, I can't thank you enough. I mean, with the event that we did that you catered, we actually collected over 200 pairs of sneakers that go to a third world country. We were recently with the doctor who's now planning to take a vacation. I think he's going to either Haiti or Argentina to provide children with shoes. And now he's working with young children that are having diabetes and trying to get kids that are young that have been stricken with diabetes. So I actually spoke to him on Sunday, and he never really personally got to thank you himself for catering the event, and it was really awesome. So I really want to thank you publicly. You know, I've thanked you before, but I want the world to know how good of a deed you did prior to COVID-19. And it was probably like the biggest thing you had going on. So I really want to thank you on the behalf of the charity, you know, Footwear of the World. Thank you so much for your donation.
No problem, bro. Anytime, bro. You know that.
All right, and then before we get out of here, actually, I want to give a shout out too to Carlos, certified knee draggers, Carlos and Carlos, because this past weekend I spent my time at New York Safety Track, and those guys really took care of me. They really showed me a good time. Carlos is a badass, and actually, he's gonna be coming up on the show sometime real soon. So y'all need to stay tuned, keep an eye out, because we'll have certified knee draggers on here at some point. But in closing, I want to say to everybody at home watching right now, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe to the channel, leave a like on this video. Like I said, come back, check us out again. We do this every Tuesday, live, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Beyond the Apex, me, Butter, whatever guests we have on. We always have a good time. And as I always say, leave this world better than you found it. Peace.